Right guys, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. I've got a bit of big news to talk about today. You've probably seen it from the title of this video. I was actually working on a script for another video looking at content design of The Division versus the content design from The Division 2 and seeing which one I felt was better when on Twitter some breaking news poured in about a new Star Wars game. But this actually concerns The Division. Now, Wired sent out this tweet which says, after almost 8 years of exclusivity with EA, Lucasfilm Games will be joining forces with Ubisoft to create an open-world Star Wars game. And that's just the beginning. And guys, guess which studio has been chosen to undertake this mammoth project? Yes, it's Massive Entertainment. So what does this mean for the future of the Division 2 franchise? Let's discuss. Now, right out of the gate, I need to make this very, very clear, so listen up. I have no inside information. I have no evidence of anything coming after Season 4, although that's not a lack of trying. I've reached out to devs and I've reached out to the Division official Twitter page asking for stuff, trying to find stuff. I don't know anything, so I'm in the dark as much as any of you guys are. This is purely speculation. There's no evidence at all to back up any of my own beliefs as to what might happen, and I encourage you all to head to the comments of this video at the end of the video and provide your own speculation, what you think might happen. Now, with that said, I will be drawing on things that is completely uncorrelated to my conclusions. But that's kind of just how my brain works. I like to pick stuff up and then just speculate about it. You guys know I've done speculation videos before. So what's happened? Well, Wired released an article earlier today titled Lucasfilm Games New Partnerships Means the Galaxy's the Limit, where the Disney-owned company have announced a new Star Wars game coming from Ubisoft, not EA, which I know a lot of people would be happy about, and also an Indiana Jones game coming from Bethesda. I think they actually revealed the Indiana Jones Bethesda thing yesterday, possibly. Now, the second paragraph says this in that particular article. Let's start with Star Wars. Development on this new title is still very early. Massive is still recruiting for the project, even so details are sparse. Julian Garrity, director of The Division 2 and the crew, will serve as the game's creative director, and the title will use Massive's Snowdrop engine. Beyond that, Lucasfilm Games hasn't revealed anything about the characters or settings within the Star Wars universe that the game will feature. So, as you can imagine, this news prompted a whole raft of people to start speculating, myself included, on Twitter. Firstly, and not Division related, I think there's a huge portion of the Star Wars fan base, which does include myself actually. I don't play the Star Wars games that much, but I do enjoy the films quite a lot. That is going to be very excited to hear that an open world Star Wars game is in the works. But the question that kept coming up, obviously with my fan base and the people that I follow generally being Division related, is what does this mean for The Division 3? Well, from the tweets that I've seen, I think a lot of people are concerned about the prospect of a third installment now. Paul Tassi, senior contributor for Forbes, released an article titled The Division 3 in Doubt as Disney Gives Massive a Star Wars Game. Now, in that article, Paul Tassi points to The Division 2 not quite reaching the sales expectations for Ubisoft as one of the reasons why there wouldn't be a Division 3. But also, I think more importantly, the unlikelihood that Massive Entertainment could develop 3 huge games: Avatar, Star Wars, and The Division 3. And this was one of many comments that I saw that came up on Twitter and just articles in general that came to the same conclusion. And as much as I don't want it to be true, I really don't, I do think this news puts the idea of a Division 3 coming in the near future as somewhat very unlikely at this point. Over the last kind of couple of months, I've been constantly checking the Massive job board to see if there are any indications of a Division 3 being worked on. I've also been checking IMDb because I know that back before the Division 2 was announced, there was some voice actors and stuff who had updated their profiles on IMDb, and that kind of got leaked out, so I was looking at that stuff and just generally looking to see if there's any indication of a Division 3 being worked on. And like others, been speculating that the unannounced projects, the job listings for that, on the official Massive Entertainment website may be in fact the Division 3. Well, I don't think that's the case any longer, unfortunately. With Massive working on Avatar and Star Wars now as well, I just cannot see how they could also work on The Division 3. That would be 3 huge games. Avatar has been delayed in line with the films. I think it's been delayed to 2023, but the teams developing that game will still be working on it. In fact, this gives Massive more time to get that game in the best place possible. So that's probably a good thing for them. So this steers my mind into believing Massive are not gonna be making The Division 3. Not yet anyway. I guess the question is, does this mean that The Division 3 is not coming? Well, of course not. It's possible that another Ubisoft studio might have taken over the reins, a studio that has worked on the Division franchise before. And I'm going to talk more about that in a future speculation video, so we'll leave that there. So, again, this is pure speculation, but this news and what this looks like makes me kind of feel a little bit sad to think that we might not get a Division 3 ever, or at least in the next kind of couple of years. With that said, it does not mean the Division 2 will not receive future DLC or updates, and I'm still pretty confident that's gonna happen. There's 2 things that stick with me in defiance that Season 4 is the end of the Division as we know it. Firstly, if the data mine leaks about the ending of Season 4 are to be true, which is proven very likely as all of the data mine info about all 4 seasons so far has been 100% accurate, the story does not end with Season 4. And actually, it sets the game up for either a sequel or a year 3. I apologise if you guys didn't know that. I probably should have said spoiler alert before I said that, but I have covered this in previous videos, so I guess most of you probably already know that. I won't tell you exactly what the leaks say about how it might end, but all you got to know is that it points to there being either a sequel or a year 3 coming up. Secondly, if the Division 2 is to go in the bin after Season 4, why did the devs invest resources into unlocking 60 FPS and 4K on next-gen consoles? Surely they just wouldn't bother, and they would have just stuck with their original plan not to provide this for the Division 2. Because if you remember, going back to, I can't remember when it was, but it was something to do with the Ubisoft thing. I remember Yannick coming on basically saying they're not going to be unlocking anything for next gen for the Division 2. And sure, there's an argument that it was because of the backlash from the community that they made these changes, but I really don't see that being enough for the devs to pile resources into making this happen. With that said, when I say pile resources, that's an assumption because I don't actually know how much work it would take for the devs to make this happen. But I presume it would take quite a bit of work because otherwise they would have just announced it initially. And they didn't, and they went ahead and did that. The future of the Division is unclear. Now, whilst plenty of people have tweeted at Massive for a statement on the future of this franchise, as of me writing this video, there's been no response, and I suspect we won't hear anything until after February 2nd when Title Update 12.1 is set to go live. Again, I've reached out to a couple of people that I know work for Massive. One of them actually came back to say that that we need to be patient, basically, which doesn't mean anything, but that's really all I've had at this point. Now, personally, I don't mind what happens with the Division franchise as long as it's not forgotten about. If we get just 4 new seasons next year, I'd be okay with that. Sure, I'd love way more, but if this is all the devs can do for now, I'd take it. I really would. I'd love to have a year 3 DLC, of course. That's what I think that's pretty much what everyone wants. Or I'd love to have an announcement for the Division 3. But, at the end of the day, as long as they're still working on it, I don't mind too much. In the long term, I do think that Ubisoft will and should take advantage of the next-gen capabilities and make the Division 3. But until then, if we can get regular updates, regular kind of content drops, then I'm going to continue to play. I'm going to continue to cover it here on the channel, because at the end of the day, through the ups and downs, this is still the only game I come back to time after time. This is still the only game I actually enjoy making content on. If I never had the Division to cover on this channel, I'd probably just move straight over to a gaming news channel, for being honest, guys, because there's just no other games that I really would like to cover. We know Outriders is coming out in a couple of months, and whilst it looks interesting, again, I've seen some of the stuff, and it doesn't quite interest me enough, maybe, to cover. I'm going to check out the demo. There is a free demo coming for Outriders. I'm going to check that out and see how I feel, but at least initial impressions are, this looks cool, but it's not going to be enough for me. I'm not going to fall in love with it the way I have with The Division, and I need to fall in love with a game in order to actually cover it here on the channel, guys. But that's it for today's video. Thanks very much for watching. Like I said, if you want to head on down to the comments now and leave your speculation, your thoughts, and all your sort of stuff down there, that would be excellent. Thanks very much, and all the way to the end. And until the next video, guys, epic out.